Now, what is Wireshark? Now, Wireshark is the world's foremost and widely used network protocol analyzer. It lets you see what's happening on your network at microscope level and is a standard across many commercial and non-profit enterprises, government agencies, and educational institutions. Wireshark development thrives thanks to the volunteer contributions of networking experts around the globe and is the continuation of project started by Gerald Combe in 1998. Now the question is, why to use Wireshark? Now Wireshark provides many features and very important features like deep inception of hundreds of protocols with more being added all the time, live capture and offline analysis, standard 3-pane packet browser, multi-platforms, so it runs on Windows, Linux, Mac OS, Solaris, FreeBSD, NetBSD, and many others. Captured network data can be browsed via GUI, graphical user interface, or via the TTY, teletyper mode, which is the CLI, the T-Shark utility. Also, it is the most powerful display filters in the industry. Rich VoIP, which is voice over internet protocol analysis. Capture files compressed with gzip can be decompressed on the fly. Live data can be read from Ethernet, IEEE 802.11, PP, HDLC, ATM, Bluetooth, USB, token ring, frame relay, FDDI, and others, depending on your platform. Also, decryption support for many protocols, including IPsec, ISAKMP, the Kerberos, SNMP version 3, SSL-TLS, WIP, and WPA, and 2. The OSI model. The OSI model, it stands for Open Systems Interconnection Model, is a conceptual framework used to describe the functions of a networking system. The OSI model characterizes computing functions into a universal set of rules and requirements in order to support interoperability between different products and software. In the OSI reference model, the communications between a computing system are split into 7 different abstractions layers: the physical, data link, networking layer, transport layer, session, presentation, and application. So let's have a look here, as you can see. So here are the 7 layers we have. We have the application layer, the end user layer, HTTP, FTP, IRS, SSH, DNS. We have the presentation layer, the syntax layer, which is SLSL, SSH, IMAP, FTP, and you can see that the presentation, like the FTP, exists in the presentation and the application. We have the session layer for sync and send to port, API sockets, WinSock, and so on. Transport layer, so here is responsible for the TCP and UDP, exists in the transport layer, end-to-end connections. We have the network, the packets, IP, ICMP, IPsec, IGMP. We have the data link like frames, Ethernet, PPP, or triple P. We have switch and bridge, so you can see it is inside the data link. We have the physical finally, which is the physical structure, the coax, fibers, wireless hubs, repeaters, and so on. Okay. By the way, the routers will be here inside this layer, or categorized inside this layer. Now let's start with the physical layer. Now this is the lowest layer of the OSI model, which is concerned with electrically or optically transmitting raw and structured data bits across the network, from the physical layer of the sending device to the physical layer of the receiving device. Okay, so from sending to receiving. It can include specifications such as voltage, pin layout, cabling, and radio frequencies. At the physical layer, one might find physical resources such as network hubs, cabling repeaters, network adapters, or modems. Now for the data link layer. At the data link layer, directly connected nodes are used to perform node-to-node data transfer where data is packaged into frames. So the data link layer also corrects errors that may have occurred at the physical layer. And the data link layer encompasses 2 sub-layers of its own. So the first, media access control, which is the MAC, provides flow control and multiplexing for device transmission over a network. The second, which is the LLC, the logical link control, provides flow and error control over the physical medium as well as identifies line protocols. For the network layer, The network layer is responsible for receiving frames from the data link layer and delivering them to their intended destinations based on the addresses contained inside the frame. The network layer finds the destination by using logical addresses, such as IP, the Internet Protocol. At this layer, routers are crucial component used to quite literally route information where it needs to go between networks. And by the way, the router categorized in this network layer or in this layer. The transport layer. It manages the delivery and error checking of data packets. It regulates the size, sequencing, and ultimately the transfer of data between systems and hosts. One of the most common examples of the transport layer is the TCP or the Transmission Control Protocol, or the UDP. So TCP and UDP are here. The session layer. Session layer controls the conversations between different computers. A session or connection between machines is set up, managed, and terminated at layer 5, which is the session layer. So session layer services also include authentication and reconnections. For the presentation layer, the presentation layer formats or translate data for application layer based on the syntax or semantics that the application accepts. So because of this, at times also called the syntax layer, this layer can also handle the encryption and decryption required by the application. And finally, we have the application layer, which is at this layer, both the end user and the application layer interact directly with the software application. This layer sees network services provided to end user applications such as web browser or Office 365. The application layer identifies communication partners, resource availability, and synchronizes communication. Okay, now it's time to install Wireshark. Now I want to make it as simple as that. How to install it? Just Google it, how to install Wireshark on Linux, on Kali Linux, on VirtualBox, on Windows, on Mac. As simple as that, and follow the steps. But for now, let's follow this. So actually, if you go to the main website of Wireshark, so type Wireshark here. So from here, go to the download or go to the wireshark.org. From here, you can see that we have some platforms like for the Windows. Just install the installer, the .exe or .msi here, 64, 32, or portable apps if you want, or you can have the source code, or if you want, you can have the Mac OS. Then just next, follow the instructions, as simple as that. By the way, if you want it for Apple, Mac OS, or Alpine Linux, or Ubuntu, you can have these from here. So you can see here are the sources for the Red Hat, for Solaris, Oracle, and FreeBSD project, Debian, whatever. Okay, all of that is ready. By the way, if you already have Kali Linux, which is, I recommend you to do that, by the way. So you can see that you can find it already there, installed. If it is not installed, we can download it and install it, as simple as that. Just type how to install Wireshark on Kali Linux and follow the steps. By the way, this is not a big deal. It is just a simple steps. Just follow them, or commands. Just follow them, press enter, next, and that's it. Okay. Now in the next lecture, we will start handling Wireshark. I will see you there. Okay. So like this, from Kali Linux, I have Kali Linux. So here, type Wireshark. And by the way, if you can have it here, you can choose the interface next, which is in my case, it is EF0. And to make sure, type ifconfig command. You can see that I'm using F0, and this is the IP address of this machine. Okay, so I will choose F0. And here you can see it will start capturing the packets. So for example, if I go here, if I open the browser, I just want to show you something. Or before that, let's open the terminal. Actually, it's better. And you can see, yeah, actually I opened the browser, but you can see that there are packets being captured, like the TCP packets and whatever. Okay. Now again, let's open the machine here. So if I type restart this time, Okay, so actually I want to quit from the browser. Let's restart the capturing. So you can see there are nothing here. So if I type bing google.com, you can see start that we have a lot of traffic going on. Okay, so Control C, Control D to quit from this. And don't worry, in the next lectures, we will start handling how to capture specific traffic. Depends on the IP, protocol, the request, specific data inside this request, and a lot of filters, powerful filters actually, and straight to the point, no fillers at all. I will see you there. Now we want to show the source to be this IP address only. So which means that the IP address must be coming from us. So ip.src, as simple as that. So ip.src equal, now put the IP address, which is, in my case, here it is. So put it here and press enter. You can see that from here, the tab resource, you can see all of the buckets have this IP address, which means it starts capturing this bucket. The same thing for the destination. It will be ip.dst, okay? Equal, don't forget to put a space here and put the IP address. So the destination will be like this. So as you can see, all of the destination has the same IP that we put inside the filter, okay? Now what if I want to be the IP address or the source IP and the destination IP to be specific? So how to do such a thing? We can use the shift 77, which means the and like that, and put ip.src equal and put whatever, okay? Now, by the way, this will not work because the source and destination cannot be the same IP address. Anyway, let's put one in our case, and this will work, okay? So and, or you can put here or shift backslash, which is this one. This means that it is or. So it means that either the IP, the destination is like that, or the source is like that. By the way, I'm just giving you the idea. So it depends on you now how you want to work. So I just provide you with the filter and the skills needed for your job or your work. You are the engineer, you are the hacker. Prepare the filters you want depends on the analysis you want. Okay? So ip.destination, ip.source, you can put or, you can put and, or you can put ip.adders, which is adder, which means whatever. So it is a source or destination. Okay, now if you want to capture the traffics of HTTP request or specific protocol, you can provide the protocol here. So if I type HTTP, in my case, as you can see, HTTP, HTTP2, HTTP3, but in my case, I will use HTTP, and you can see there are nothing here. So if I open my browser here, sorry, my terminal, and if I type curl HTTP as google.com, you can see it will not show anything because it is HTTPS. Now, if I type curl HTTP, by the way, the curl, it is the CURL. So actually, this is tool. If I type man curl, this is to transfer a URL. It is a tool to transfer data from or to a server. Okay, and this is used with specific protocols like FTPS, FTTP, FTP. I mean HTTP, HTTPS, whatever. Okay, cool. So this time it will be curl HTTP. Okay, like that. Oh, cool. You can see that, yeah, the source, it is coming from my machine, which is this IP, and it is going to the destination, which is the public IP of Google. And now it is coming from, as you can see, this is the link or the information here. It is get slash the HTTP version 1.1, and we got the response, which is this one, the 2. The response is the source. You can see that the source here coming from google.com and going to our destination, which is my IP address, and the protocol is HTTP as we put in the filter. And here you can see it will show us that it is moved permanently or whatever. Okay, now this is the same thing for DNS. So you can type DNS and you can put or show all the DNS requests or packets. So you can see that here we are going to somewhere or whatever data we are receiving. All right, the same thing for HTTPS, by the way, but you can see that HTTPS will not work because here it will work if we type SSL or TLS. Okay, TLS like that. Okay, so the same thing. All right. Okay. Cool. Now, what if I want to see a specific port for the TCP? So we know that TCP is in layer 4, which is the transmission layer, and the transmission layer or the TCP use ports, right? So in that case, I will use TCP dot port. By the way, if you can see TCP dot a lot of things. So dot port, dot analysis flags, initial RRT, duplicate acknowledgement. There are a lot of things, out of order analysis, whatever. But in our case, we will use TCP dot port equal, and it will be port 80. Okay, so I press enter. After that, you can see there is nothing. Again, if I go to the curl HTTP, which is the port 80, you can see that, yeah, we start receiving a lot of traffic. So if I go actually to the port, so if I'm using this time telnet, and let's go to the google.com and on port 888. So here, let's change that to 888. You can see that, yeah, it start receiving. So actually, let's restart that. So let's delete this and let's restart this, continue without saving. You can see that port or 888 not found. If I type telnet google.com on port 888, you can see that, yeah, it will start sending the traffic from the source, which is my laptop or my machine, to the destination here, which is the IP address of, or the public IP of google.com. And here you can see that it is not working, by the way, because this port is not opened from Google side. Okay, cool. Now the same thing for udb.port, the same thing, it will work as expected. Now what if I want to see the packets that with TCP contains a specific thing? So TCP contains, as you can see, for example, get. Press enter, and if I open here, if I try to go to curl HTTP, you can see that the get is not inside this TCP. Now what if I want it to be get capital? You can see that, yeah, because here what we have done in the curl command here, we are sending a get request. So get request, so you can see that get capital here is found. Yeah, here you can see this is the bucket, and inside it we have the get, this one, we have the get request. So get slash. Now what if I want to search for slash? Yeah, by the way, you can see it is found either in the request or either in the response. And you may ask me, how did I know this is a response? Yeah, you guessed it right, from the source destination address. So the source is this IP. This IP is not my IP. The destination is my IP, which is this one. So I assume that this is for google.com. Cool. Now don't worry, we have other stuff. How did I know this is for google.com? So from here, you can see that from here, you can see or search for the host. So yeah, from the request or HTTP request, you can see that the location is like that. So the location is google.com. Cool. So far so good. Now to filter out all the HTTP get or post request, we can use this one. So HTTP dot request. So you can see that HTTP dot request, press enter. And here you can see that you can choose the method, the line, the URI, the version, or whatever. In my case, I will use the method, and equal, it will be get. Press enter. Now let's go here. Let's type curl, the HTTP, and you can see that, yeah, it is captured. Now here it is a get request. Now if I want to put it as a post request, so -x, I will use the -x option with the curl here and put the post capital. Press enter. You can see that it couldn't resolve this. Yeah, actually it is x capital, by the way, not x small here. Yeah, cool. But you can see that it is not captured. So how? Now if I type post this time, yeah, you can see that it is here. Now again, let's restart that so I can show you live. So here it is. Again, yeah, you can see that it is captured. So you can see post slash and it is working fine. The same thing for bot or other HTTP requests. Now, to filter out specific protocols. So, for example, I don't want to capture the DNS or the ARP or whatever. So how to do such a thing? I will use the shift 1, which is this exclamation mark, so which means not, and open the brackets and open or type inside it DNS, or you can choose or shift // ARP, for example, and press enter. And you can see that this will not work. So I think, or not DNS like that. So you can see, yeah. So if I type like that, DNS or ARP, okay, it must be a small letter because this is a case sensitive, by the way. So shift 1 exclamation mark, open the brackets. So either DNS or ARP, don't display them. So how did I know it is working or not? You can just curl to HTTP, and here you can see that it will start capturing all of the protocols. You can see TCP, SSDP, HTTP, or whatever, but DNS is not here. Now, how to know that is DNS here, by the way, or is DNS being captured from the first place? Just remove it, and you can see that, yeah, it is captured. So remove it like that, press enter, yeah, DNS is here, okay? So if I type not DNS or ARP, DNS is not here. So we filtered out the DNS and ARP. So this or inside it, so which means either DNS or ARP. You can put AND here. Okay, so DNS and ARP are here. Not so you can see that it will start capturing. Okay, so ARP is here and DNS is here. So you must type it as or. So either DNS or ARP, don't, because this is shift 1 or exclamation mark, not, don't show them here. Okay, cool. So far, now it's time to talk about NC Netcat utility, how to capture password. Now, Netcat is a plain text way to see things. So if I type NC-L for listening, -P 9999. So right now I'm listening on the port 80. Sorry, on the port 9999. Now open Wireshark here. And from here, let's choose any, like that. So let's put it like that. So from here, actually, I start capturing. I want to connect to our machine. So I will put the IP address, my network interface IP address, so which is this one. So unsee this IP with this port. Okay. So you can see that, yeah, it start capturing. As you can see here, it is the packets. Now, if I type, hi, this is my password, 1 2 3 4 5 6, for example. Okay, so we receive it here. Now, if I click here actually, and if I right click, follow TCP stream, you will find out we can find the text as plain. As you can see, hi, this is my password, and 1 2 3 4 5 6. So using ANSI for communication is a bad way. Okay, now ANSI, of course, we use it just as a client to connect to endpoints or check the connectivity, you know, like the Swiss knife, as they called it, Swiss army knife for networking. Okay, so but don't use it for secure communication. Okay, now let's talk about the FTP. Now, FTP is a protocol, file transfer protocol, and it is born in 1971 or whatever. It used the port 20 and 21. Okay, now although it is a very old protocol, but some organizations still use it today. Imagine that. Okay, so FTP is a plain text protocol, and therefore any man-in-the-middle attack will compromise your data or your passwords. So let's start doing here. Okay, so let's start capturing. And by the way, by default, FTP is not installed. So just Google it, how to install FTP on Kali Linux. Okay, by the way, it will be like that. So sudo apt install vsftpd. Okay, like that. And put the password. And you can see that, yes, FTP is already installed, by the way. Now, sudo systemctl status for the vsftpd, and you can see that, yeah, it is inactive by default. So let's enable it. So start, so sudo systemctl start vsftpd. Now let's check it. Now it is run. Now it is running. So net state dash ntlp, you can see that, yeah, the port 21 is running right now. Okay, cool. So far so good. Now if I type ftp, press enter, this is the FTP client, O for open connection. Now put our IP address, which is this one. Now put Kali, put the password, which is the password of my Kali user, Kali123456. Okay, and here you can start get files, receive, bot, whatever. Okay, now you can see that we have captured a lot of traffic here. So if I click on the TCP, right click, follow TCP stream again. Oh, you can see that we are capturing secure data. So you can see, please specify the password, and you can see that the password is like that. Imagine that. So we are seeing the password. So of course, then, okay. Now please, if you are an engineer working with a company, organization, or whatever, and you are still using, or they are still using FTP, please, you suggest that you should replace it with something more secure like SFTP or the SSH, because as you can see, the password is here, and which is something very dangerous. Okay, now this is for the password using FTP. Now what if I want to capture files? Okay, so for example, let's quit from the connection. So for example, let's touch a file, and this file, let's call it file.txt. Okay, vim this file. Okay, let's put some content inside it. So this is the first line, this is first line, second line, third, etc, blah blah blah, or whatever. Okay, so this is our file. Okay, file.txt. Now let's restart the capturing. Okay, so we can have a nice page or clear page. So here, FTP, open the connection to our IP address. Okay, now put Kali123456, and here if I type ls or dir, you can see that we have the file. Sorry, I need to increase the font size like that. So dir, you can see here is the file, file.txt. Now I want to get it, so get the file.txt. Okay, and put it /, which means on my current directory, or actually let's put it on the desktop so we can distinguish, because if I put it on the current directory, it is the same Kali home directory. So /, desktop. So you can see that transfer is complete. Now if I go to Wireshark here, if I right click on the first, as you can see, the first TCP, follow TCP stream, you can see we are start receiving. This is Kali password, here is the port, some information, and finally we are receiving, as you can see, retrieve the file.txt, and here are some values, transfer complete, or whatever. So how to do and how to get the content of the file, which is ftp-data. Press enter, you can see that, yeah, it is here. So from here, right click, TCP stream, you can see that we are receiving some data. This is, remember when I type dir, so we received the directory or lists. Okay, again let's put ftp-data here, and here you can see we have the retrieve the file list, and here retrieving the file. So follow TCP stream, and here, oh my god, you can see that we are seeing the plain text here completely. So you can see that this is the file as explained, or as a plain text, which is something very dangerous to use FTP at all. Okay, so far so good. Now, what if we want to capture password using HTTP? So imagine that there are still websites using HTTP instead of HTTPS, the SSL TLS protocol. And this is very dangerous thing. So if I go to my browser, and if I go to this website, now actually this is just an arbitrary website, but the main point here is to talk about HTTP and HTTPS. So techpanda.org, go to it. Now actually this is website intended for such a thing, and here let's put admin@google.com, and the password will be P capital password 2010, and press enter. And here you can see that, yeah, it is here. Okay, we are connected or logged in successfully. Okay, now here is the thing. Now if I go here, if I type HTTP, press enter, you can see that we are capturing all of the data here. Now you can see that if you follow the info here, you can see we have a post. Now this post, inside it, open the hypertext protocol or start searching about some information, or from here, from the HTML form URL, you can see we are seeing the username or the email and the password as a plain text, which means this is a bad idea to use a website or even to create a users on a website, on such websites. Like websites that are not using HTTPS, don't use it at all, because you may get hacked. As you can see, I am seeing the email or the username, I mean, and the password as plain text. This is something very dangerous. Now the same thing for the HTTP website. Okay, we can capture files or images, videos, whatever. So actually if I return back to panda.com or techpanda.org here and go to it here, or actually if I go open Google, I typed list of HTTP websites, okay, whatever, and I went to site list, for example, here, and if I go to any website, arbitrary website, just choose anything that are not using HTTPS, like that, for example, here the first thing, you can see that there are a lot of images, a lot of stuff, okay, and here the same thing, and see, and so, and all of that. So here, if I type JPEG, you can see that there are nothing. But if I type PNG, for example, oh my God, you can see that we are seeing a lot of PNG images. Now, how to capture these? So from here, from file, export object, and we will use HTTP. But the first thing, we must stop the capturing. So stop it, file, export object HTTP, and here you can see we have a lot of objects like the JSON, JPEG files, whatever. So if I type JPEG, nothing. PNG, yeah, there are a lot. So if I type save all, and let's save them on the desktop for now, and choose yes, and let's go to the desktop actually. Oh my God, you can see that we have all of the images. So the images of the birds, the logo, whatever data we have. So which means that if I am using HTTP, I can see the traffic as a plain text. Okay, I can see the traffic as a plain text. So don't ever use HTTP websites, either for login, or don't develop such websites. And this is as something very serious.